All right, so here is Chad from Open Your Reality. Have you heard of him? 139,000 subscribers. So, needless to say, doing fairly well in YouTube land. And he's everyone's favorite truther. Everyone, as in ones who are, quote, spiritual, but really have no interest in actual reality and truth. They just want to feel good. So that's what makes Chad, Open Your Reality, your favorite truther. He did a video about 4 months ago called I Almost Bought Into the Soul Trap Theory, but then I heard Tom Campbell say this, and that's what this video is going to be about. A lot of problems with this video. I want to go into much of that. Let's begin.
Just recently, I asked ChatGPT to write a letter, an angry letter to God, asking why He has forsaken us and why there is so much suffering in the world. A few days ago, a 71-year-old man tragically died in a car accident where he was trapped in his vehicle as it was hit by another one. It was an 18-year-old driver speeding under the influence.
So, not sure what the heck this is here. However, it is intentional. It comes up later in the video. I don't know. Maybe it's made to captivate the audience, pull people in, put them in a trance-like state. Basically, trying to pull you in to lead you down the wrong path. That's what Chad's all about. And of course, the color has to be red, which is, the color of blood, vampire. I think, in a way, Chad is some sort of vampire as he feeds off your hope and your drive towards reaching ultimate truth and then makes money from you and actually leaves you no better off than you were before.
Influence T-boned him. So the old man's car flipped, caught on fire, and he was incinerated alive inside his car. Ruby told me about that accident. Makes me sick to my stomach to hear that.
And as you can see, Chad is an excellent actor as well. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say he was acting? He's being completely genuine here, completely legit, not acting at all. No way. He's totally in distress. He's having a hard life like everybody else, like his 139,000 subscribers that will give this man their time, their focus, their money. He's suffering like all of them. He has the answers. He knows the truth.
And I didn't even want to talk about it. So I guess it was that news and all the soul trap stuff recently that I've been exposed to that got me thinking that...
So yeah, all jokes aside, I don't even know why he does this. He must have very little respect for his audience. His audience must be so dumb that they actually think he means what he says, that the emotions in his face are legitimate and realistic. Not at all. Very much a B or C level actor at best, in my opinion. Not very good. And when we get to Tom Campbell, it gets even better. But we have a little bit more of Chad to listen to first about wow. Those soul trap believers are bad for society.
Maybe artificial intelligence has some kind of answer. So I went to ChatGPT, which is an artificial intelligence, and prompted it to write an angry letter to God, questioning why He allows so much suffering and so many horrific acts to take place in our world. And this is what it said. Dear God, I am writing you today out of deep anger and frustration. As I look around this world that you created, I am filled with sorrow.
So, what is with this assumption that God, G-O-D, as I like to call dog, created this world and has good intentions? Okay, so it all starts at childhood. You had no, at least myself, had no conception for God or a loving being of some sort that created this world, created me, put me here, whatever the hell. I had to be told that. Chad had to be told that.
Sorrow and despair. How could you have forsaken us so completely? How could you have created a world in which we are forced to suffer endlessly? Every day we are bombarded with news of wars, famine, disease, and death. Innocent children are dying in senseless conflicts, while others are starving to death because of our greed and selfishness. Animals are being hunted to extinction, and our planet is slowly being destroyed by pollution and climate change.
And as you can see, Chad is pushing the mainstream beliefs, the mainstream propaganda about climate change, the earth, what the earth is, about wars, and all the news bullshit, okay, all the fear that they put into you to put you at a lower state of consciousness and more of a depressed state, desperate state, reliant on authorities, okay, in distractions. And then they give you this God character or whatever good soul being that creates our bodies, our souls, all that garbage. And they push that at you as your only hope.
What kind of loving God would create such a world? A world where the strong prey on the weak, where the innocent are punished for the sins of others, and where we are constantly reminded of our own mortality and insignificance. I cannot help but feel that you have abandoned us, that you have turned your back on your own creation. You gave us free will, but what good is that when we are so clearly incapable of using it wisely? You gave us the power to love and create, but we have used that power to...
So I don't like how Chad is using we, like humanity, us, everyone together as one, that if we had free will, or assuming we do have free will, we are using it improperly. Well, what do you mean we are? I'm not you. You're not me. I'm my own individual spirit, separate from all the other fuckers out there, okay? And there's a lot of evil human beings, so-called, at the top who have all the power and who have deceived the entire world, but they are never going to get the exposure that they should from somebody like Chad. Open your reality.
Hate and destroy. I know that there are those who will say that our suffering is necessary, that it is a test of our faith, or that it is simply a part of your grand plan. But I cannot accept that. I cannot...
This is what happens when you exit the Matrix.
Boo.
Create a world in which so much pain and suffering is necessary. If you truly love us, then why do you allow us to suffer so much? Why do you not intervene to stop the wars and the injustice? Why do you not put an end to the suffering and the pain? I do not know if you will ever answer my questions, but I needed to express my anger and frustration.
Nope. He will never answer your questions. You'll keep asking and asking, and you're not going to hear a damn thing. All right? Sometimes we so-called, we pray, right, to these entities, these beings. We think we're praying to a good being, and sometimes we get what we want. Most of the time, we don't get nothing. It's just all part of the deception. Okay? sometimes things work out for you. That's great. Well, maybe that was because of you and your action. Or maybe there was an entity that's just hooking you up to make you believe more in the illusions.
I hope that someday, somehow, you will find a way to show us that you have not abandoned us, that you have not forsaken us to a life of suffering and despair. Sincerely, a deeply troubled and frustrated human.
Not bad, right? Yeah, not bad for an AI at all. Wrote a better letter than I could do myself, and I fancy myself a pretty good writer. However, I don't want you to get the impression that I believe this world is a soul trap. I don't think it is.
So Chad does believe all the things that the Chat GPT put in that. He is admitted, he's had interviews with people admitting that of all the suffering in the world, right? But then we're going to get to the next part with Tom Campbell and the reason why that is. And of course, a lot of it is, as many of us know, is going to be like, we have to learn shit, and it's like a school, and it's to better and evolve our spirit, our soul, and all that nonsense. So he believes everything that was said there, which is probably the most truthful part of this entire video.
As a matter of fact, those people who do believe it is could be part of the problem and not part of the solution.
All right, so what he does is he starts, really the whole point is coming up next here, but he starts it with saying that anybody believes it's a soul trap is part of the problem and not part of the solution. So let's play that again.
Bad for an AI at all. Wrote a better letter than I could do myself, and I fancy myself a pretty good writer. However, I don't want you to get the impression that I believe this world is a soul trap. I don't think it is.
I'm sorry, I had to pause it, guys. I don't want you to get the impression that I believe it's a soul trap because I want more of your money. I don't want to keep my sub count high. That's what he's actually saying. I don't care about the truth. I just want to feel good. I want some other alternative out there, some other possibility that I can default to, because the truth is just too hard and it's just too difficult.
As a matter of fact, those people who do believe it is could be part of the problem and not part of the solution.
As a matter of fact, he says that you could be part of the problem and not the solution. Well, I'd love to hear Open Your Reality's solutions, because his solutions are just going to get you recycled back in here and have your mind wiped and not know what the fuck happened before. And then you have to start all over again. And how do you know that life isn't going to be worse than the one you have right now? Clueless. His followers, his subscribers who believe that nonsense. Now, he's had people on his channel that are soul trap believers, if you will. So he has all the information. And he's choosing to go in the direction of, this is a great place. It's humans that screw it up. It's our fault. God is loving. It's a school. It's a learning experience, which is all clearly wrong if you look at the data.
Tom Campbell gets asked all the time why there is so much suffering in the world, and his answer really hasn't changed in the last decade. I want to play you an excerpt now of Tom addressing that very question. If you're on the fence about whether this world is a soul trap or not, this clip will probably put those questions to rest.
Yes, we know that there...
And I love how he's showing the TV here, right? Like, I just saw this as mockery right away. Okay, it's a TV, so you're really going to pay attention now, right? It's true. Like, Tom Campbell is telling the truth. He's a truthful guy. He's an expert because he's on the TV. He's on that screen right there. That's how I see it. It's just funny. Just kind of throwing in your face.
There is a lot of dysfunction here and the suffering. But that suffering is us making poor choices. The system didn't say, oh, I'd like to build a world of suffering because suffering is really cool. And, I'm a masochist and I love to see suffering. So I'm going to make this world that's really, really full of suffering.
And I could stop the video right here because this pretty much explains everything else he's going to say, all in just a couple sentences here. So they always want to blame you. You're the problem. Your decisions are bad. You don't use your will in the right way. And that's why the world is screwed up. That we haven't matured. We haven't evolved. We haven't grown enough. It's always you. Humans are the reason for suffering. Humans are the reason for climate change. Humans are the reason for wars. Damn you, you slave. It's all your fault. That's what Tom Campbell's all about. And he's one of the biggest agents out there. Okay? The guy worked for NASA, for crying out loud. He's supposedly the expert on consciousness. He is no expert. And there really are no experts, period. They want you to think there's experts out there. They want you to listen to them. So that was the first part. They want to blame humans for the problem without any mention of the hierarchy of power in this world and how us little humans have almost zero control on what happens at the higher levels, top down. Okay, and what decisions are made, the way things happen. All right. And then the second part, what he was talking about, was just complete bullshit. That, the creator of this world didn't sit back and think, I'm going to create a world of suffering, okay, and horror and trauma and terror. Well, if you look at the world for what it is, if you look at nature, humans, you can just throw humans out of the equation. Animals are suffering all the time. They're eating each other. Many cases, they're eating each other alive. Okay? Everything is eating everything, every second, every minute of the day, all the time. Okay? To survive. Plants, animals, everything. Suffering is a key ingredient of this reality. Suffering is part of the operating system. It is a core essential element here. So I could pretty much end the video right now, as Tom is just going to repeat the same bullshit, but I'm kind of having a little bit of fun with it, so we're going to keep going.
It didn't work like that. The system needed to evolve, needed to expand the rate at which it was evolving, which was very, very slow in this limited chat room environment it was in. Couldn't evolve very well because the choices were not challenging. The choices were to communicate or not to communicate. That was it. There was no consequences, whether you communicated or didn't communicate, or the consequences were very minor. So within that realm, evolution, growing to become love, growing to make it about other, was very, very slow. So that's why this reality was created. A reality with a tight rule set where all of one's...
That's why reality was created. Anybody who tells you as like an absolute or even close that they know how or why reality was created, just run the other way. Obviously, this guy doesn't know shit about why this reality was created. I don't know why the reality is created. All we can do is look at observational data points, things that we can see with our eyes, that we experience, just data in this realm, right? To come to a conclusion, an opinion, a belief about what this place is. We don't know the ultimate truth, obviously, but Tom wants to tell you that he knows why this place was created, and they give you all this bullshit about evolution and choices and just garbage theory, flying by the seat of his pants, complete nonsense. People eat it up because it sounds good, and they play music in the background, okay? So it's all about the production, the effects of production. It will hypnotize you, essentially. And Tom is a, quote, credible figure, like an expert. And people just listen to experts because when you were a little kid, it was like, well, if you have a problem, you got to go see an expert. It's just not that simple, folks. It's not that simple. You got to pay attention. You got to read between the lines, okay? The devil's in the details. You can't just look at it on the surface and know what's going on.
Did everybody else, where everyone's interactions made, consequences for them and for others. Well, now you've got a place where your choices are really important. And because we weren't very grown, because we'd been in the chat room for a long time, when we finally got to a place that had challenging choices, well, our ego and our beliefs and all of that stuff just was right there. So we made a lot of poor choices, and we're still making poor choices. But as a whole, humanity is evolving and growing up the quality of their consciousness.
Yeah, as a whole, we're making choices. It's not we, Tom. I'm not with you. I'm not you. I'm my own being, my own spirit, just like everybody else. Maybe there's certain classes of spirits or, different groups. I don't know. But I'm not lumped in with everybody else. And I'm not the reason for all the problems in the world. People making barely enough to get by are not the problem in this world. So, very obvious stuff. See, the problem here is the individuals who are following Open Your Reality should be aware of this nonsense. They should know that Tom Campbell is not a good resource if you want to follow the right path.
Go back 500 years and see how cheap life was compared to now. You don't have to go even that far. Go back 300 years and you'll see that the place was a lot tougher, harder, unfriendlier than it is now.
And how do you know that? Once again, it's opinions, it's theory, it's ideas, okay? About whatever leftover information we have from the past. Now, personally, I don't know if the world's been here. I don't know if this matrix or this current state of our reality, this physical reality, I don't know if it's been around 500 years. Could be 200 years. Could be less. I have no idea. We don't know what happened 500 years ago. There could be, 500 years ago, 99% of people were living pretty good. 1% was living bad, but they're going to put the spotlight on the ones that weren't doing good to prove their point. All right, so it's all proportions, right? So if they have an agenda and they have something they want to push, an idea, okay, that they want to engineer society to believe, they're going to focus on a minority situation in the past. Because we know in this realm, it's hell realm, and there's negative things, bad things that happen. Okay, so it's going to be throughout history. So even if it wasn't prevalent, they're going to make it seem like it's prevalent. And then you think, oh, my life's so great now. This slavery I'm in, it's not so bad. At least I'm not at war every day, starving to death. But we don't know. You don't know. So it's opinions. Okay, we all need to understand. You need to understand this is an opinion. A take, a theory, a perspective. It's not truth. You don't know. We don't know what happened 500 years ago.
We're making progress, but progress is slow because evolution is slow. But the good news is that as you make progress, it's easier to make more progress. So your progress curve starts out very, very slow and then gets steeper and steeper. So we're now kind of on that knee of that curve over the last couple of 100 years where we're on that curve where it starts to, take off and go. This is not the time to want to bail out of the experiment just when it's starting to get interesting and pay off after, 200,000 years of, living in a warlord environment.
Yeah, once again, 200,000 years, way too long ago, okay, to be considering anything from 2,000 years ago. Also, he calls it an experiment, which isn't exactly something that's I want to be a part of, not something that I signed up for. okay? Or at least I believe I would never sign up for this type of experiment. And then this whole thing about progress, that things are progressing, things are better. Once again, it's painting the past like it was absolute hell and you could barely survive and you only lived until you were like 30 years old. Comparing it to the shithole we live in now, it makes now not look so bad, okay? It puts a complete black eye on the past. It's just a very simple tactic to use. Just put all the weight of negativity on years ago, 100, 200 years ago, and then all this shit now, well, it's better. We're progressing. We have more choices. Now, we got to think about our perspective, our lives, and make decisions based on that, and not what we hear with stories from 100 years ago, 200 years ago, or anything Tom Campbell has to say. Now, they love the bells, Freemasonry, Campbell, the bell. You're going to see a lot of famous people or individuals on the world stage, on YouTube, on television, celebrities, the last name of Campbell. They love their bells.
Now we're doing better than that, at least some places in the U.S. and in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. We are improving overall as a species. Doesn't mean that everything we're going to do from now on is going to be terrific. We still have to grow up, but the experiment is working, I should say. We are evolving, and at a much faster rate than we were in the chat room. So this is a good experience. And not having any humans just basically gets rid of the point in the experiment to begin with. That's why this virtual reality is here. It's here for critters as well as people, for individuated units of consciousness to make choices and grow up by making those choices. Okay, if you're a bumblebee, you get
So how do you grow up? I don't understand. Once the body dies, you get your mind wiped. You forget everything. You don't know anything from the past. And then you're born into this hell world where you're going to be brainwashed from birth to death with lies, deception. Of course, he doesn't mention anything about governments, so-called authorities, secret societies. You're not going to hear that stuff from Tom Campbell. He's going to blame it on you. It's all your fault. You're the reason that we're not evolving fast enough, or you're the reason that everyone's life is miserable, or climate change, wars. It's always going to be kind of the average citizen, if you will, that's going to be at fault here, right? It's not going to be, your leaders, the world leaders. It's not going to be secret societies. It's not going to be anybody behind the curtain, or any capitalists or people who, are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. No, not them. Not the ones who created money and the Federal Reserve here in the United States, or any of the systems that are going on in agencies. Not at all. Not the news that's just for entertainment and not for truth. Those people aren't at fault at all. It's just us as a collective. We're just a bunch of losers here on Earth, and we just don't get it. Okay, we don't get that it's about learning, it's about growing, it's about evolving. I mean, listening to Tom Campbell just give us his spiel here sounds like a complete moron to me. Just sounds like he's either a complete idiot or he's just reciting a script. That's it. That's how I see Tom Campbell, and that's how I see Chad from Open Your Reality as well. So he's going to talk about a bumblebee here. I'm probably going to skip ahead a little bit to something that's a little bit different because he keeps repeating the same thing over and over again.
On a slow rate, that's the way that consciousness evolves. It may, by making good choices, work its way up the chain to, go from one species to the next and end up eventually growing up to the point of having a big enough decision space to play a human avatar.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. More theories, more nonsense, things that have not been proven, Tom. Tom, you're a joke, okay? A complete joke, all right? Keeps repeating about choices, keeps pushing the evolution, the theory, quote, theory. It's a theory, folks, of evolution, which I do not believe one bit. It is a way to dumb you down, make you feel dumb and insignificant, not special, one with no power at all. Because you came from, a monkey, apes, whatever, a relative of one of those. But basically, we don't see. Why don't we see any half monkey people? Okay, we don't see any animals or species that are in the process of evolving into something new. We don't see that. That all happened a long time ago, and you just need to listen to us. You need to shut up, listen, learn, and just pedal. Just keep repeating the lies and believe the lies and love the lies. Love your slavery.
But it's all part of this process, and humans are part of it too. To look at it and say, well, it's not a nice place, therefore we should end it. That is very short-sighted. I agree, it's not a nice place, but it's getting nicer all the time.
It's getting nicer all the time. Wiser words have never been spoken. So what Tom's going to do is he's going to say that basically it's better now than it was 500 years ago. He's not going to talk about the 1950s. He's not going to talk about the 40s, the 30s, back when my grandparents were growing up, and the world it had its problems, but it wasn't like it is today. It wasn't so dehumanizing. There wasn't so much divide and hate and so much basically division, just different values, different beliefs, anything goes. Back then a boy was a boy, a girl was a girl. The man was the leader in the household, had respect. Okay? The divorce rate was less than 1%. But things are better now, but he's not going to talk about the 50s. He's going to talk about the 1500s. Okay? And it's okay, great, Tom. I'm glad my lifetime has sucked. I'm happy as a whole, as humanity, we're improving, in the last 20,000 years or 200,000 years, as you said. And I guess I just have to suck it up and just hope that before the end of my time, things get better. As things get worse, of course.
Now, that doesn't mean that there'll be a decade where it gets less nice. It just means that overall, in the long term, it's getting better. And if you're fearful, wrench in the whole consciousness evolution scheme, growing up is the answer. Instead of feeling negative about it, turn around and see what you can do to become love, to become caring, to become compassionate, to get rid of the ego and get rid of the fear. And then...
Right. Of course, you can be loving and compassionate and positive and all those things, but then the government can just make up a deadly disease, okay? Make it up, close down your business, put you out of work, make you muzzle yourself, and then come up with a mass-produced chemical concoction that you must take, you are pressured to take, coerced to take, okay? And you're just some weirdo who doesn't care about saving lives if you don't partake in that. So life can be grand, life can be good, and then you get hit with something. And to acknowledge that is because, according to Tom, you haven't grown enough, okay? You haven't matured enough. You just need to be loving and everything will be all right. Well, the problem with that is ignoring a major part of this experience, this reality. A major part that could unlock the door to your potential and unlock the door into exiting this hell realm, which Tom, his job is to keep you coming back again and again and again. We're going to wrap this up with Chad at the end here. I'm going to skip ahead to Chad, and that's going to be the end. But Tom, we've heard enough from Tom. We're going to have Chad wrap it up here.
is at least my opinion on it.
I hope that answers the
That's right. It is his opinion, after all.
question. And for me, I am stating unequivocally right now on the channel that I believe what Tom just said. I believe if you are not...
There you have it, folks. He believes what Tom just said, former NASA employee, world stage puppet, just like all the rest of them, like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and on, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Just take your pick. Take your pick, whether it's science, whether it's business, whatever it is. Okay, government. Tom Campbell's in that category. And Chad, this truther with 139,000 subscribers, who's doing very well on YouTube and is a, quote, truther, a truth seeker. He believes or agrees with everything Tom Campbell has to say. And quite frankly, Tom Campbell didn't say shit. Nothing concrete, nothing usable, nothing that's going to help you exit this realm or better your situation, or even if this wasn't a soul trap, help you to come back to a better realm or a better place. If this was a learning experience, nothing at all. They leave you at a dead end. There's nowhere to go. Okay, at least people within the soul trap community, you know, you can say what you want about all that. I tend to agree with most of those things. I don't like the name soul trap. Okay, I think that's a way to keep people away from the topic. Okay, because it sounds scary. But I do agree with it. I don't believe that I consented to coming here. I don't believe I chose to come here. I think in some way I was tricked or fooled. I don't know, but this is not my home. This is not a place that I belong to. There's many things that are off about it. There's many things from when I was a small child that I understood that were off and wrong and not where I was from. So, Chad agrees with all that. He wants you to feel good. He wants you to subscribe, like his videos, and he wants to make money off you. That's what Chad wants to do. He is not interested in you bettering your life. He's interested in him bettering his life at the expense of you, and he could care less if you get recycled back in this place.
Part of the solution, you are part of the problem, that this is a overall good place.
Right, so is Howdy Mikowski listening to this right now? He just said that Howdy Mikowski is part of the problem because Howdy believes this is a soul trap. He said, I'm going to back it up.
Part of the problem.
Right,
believe it now answers the channel that I believe what Tom just said. I believe if you are not part of the solution, you are part of the problem, that this is a overall good place. I believe in Yogananda. I believe in the Ascended Masters.
Right. So anybody who believes it's a soul trap theory is part of the problem. That's what he's saying. Okay. It's overly negative. He believes this is a good place. I mean, this is an obvious gatekeeper right here about what this reality is. Okay, which could be the final frontier. I mean, this could be the last chapter, what this place is. And giving you that knowledge or obtaining that knowledge is going to give you the tools you may need to exit this place, exit this matrix. This creature here believes this place is good. That is the biggest load of garbage I've ever heard. So for someone like Howdy Mikowski, okay, or Tony Sayers, who I believe has also been interviewed with Open Your Reality, I'm pretty sure, not 100% on that one, but he's had soul trap advocates, if you will, on his channel interviewing, and he just completely slaps them in the face, says you're part of the problem. So is Howdy going to come out and do a video in response to this? I mean, it's been 4 months, so it's not going to happen because they're all on the same page. They're in the same group, the same club. They're all here to gatekeep you and lie to you. Okay, that's what their job is. It's their job. Howdy ain't going to come out and say, oh, well, screw Chad. I'm not part of the problem. You're part of the problem. He's not going to do that. Why wouldn't he do that? He believes 100% or 99% pretty damn high that this is a soul trap. Okay? And Chad is openly calling him or anybody in that sphere, if you will, of thought as a problem. The problem, not the solution. So, Howdy Mikowski, I challenge you to make a video in response to Chad saying that you're part of the problem. It's not going to happen.
When I break it down, quite simply,
More
suffering
bullshit
is the
here.
result of man, and man has a lowly evolved quality of consciousness.
I was going to finish this video, but man, he just keeps saying good stuff here. Did he just say that it's man is the problem again? Do we have to repeat this?
Believe in the ascended masters. When I break it down, quite simply, suffering is the result of man.
All right, suffering is a result of man. Well, dude, man didn't create hurricanes. Man didn't create tornadoes. Man didn't create droughts. Man didn't create floods. Man didn't create animals eating each other alive. Man didn't create diseases that you're born with that you have no control over, like blindness or deafness or loss of limbs, mutilation. Man didn't create any of those things. And all the diseases as well that you could be born with or develop throughout your life. Okay, you can argue whether it's a choice or not, but why does there have to be diseases anyway? What, so we can learn and then get our mind wipes to start all over again? That sounds like you're being used and abused, and anybody who is going to deny reality, like Chad, you should unsubscribe because he is not opening your reality. He's closing your fucking reality. Okay, he's squashing it. He's slamming down any possibility of you exiting or freeing yourself. Why would you listen to this guy? Okay, and once again, Howdy, where's your video detesting this behavior?
And man has a lowly evolved quality of consciousness. That is why we are primarily suffering in this world. And when things go wrong, it's not because the Creator wanted it to be that way. It's just the way it is here. But what I think...
Well, so if you have, a hyena going after, its prey, and it eats it and starts chewing away at it, okay, while the prey is alive, okay, God didn't create that. God didn't create the program within these creatures to do that. They need to do that to survive. It was created by them. So Chad is lying to you. I don't think he's that dumb. Okay, I don't think he's unaware that animals eat each other alive. Okay, he's lying and scamming. Okay, he's doing a disservice to you, doing a disservice to truth. And then bring on someone like Tom Campbell. Tom Campbell. Okay? Whew. We don't have much more to go here. But it's just getting good. It's just starting to get good now.
What we need to understand is that consciousness is eternal. It goes on. It doesn't need the body to survive.
True.
Well, I hope you came away a little bit more enlightened from this video today.
No.
And if you did,
Definitely not. And loves doing this stuff. That's funny. That's too funny. That's cool.
please click the like button, subscribe, or better
Click the
yet,
like
sign
button,
up to my free email list, and I'll alert you every time I send out.
I mean, this is not somebody that you should be taken seriously if you're serious about learning about this realm. Just absolutely ridiculous. All right, so that's all I got for you today. It's really painful having to watch this video, but it's kind of funny just how people just talk out of both sides of their mouth. You can have an interview with somebody with like Howdy or Sayers, say one thing like, oh, Howdy, that makes a lot of sense. You're so smart. Tony, you're so smart. What a genius you are. You're wonderful. Come on this channel anytime. We should do this again. Wonderful. And then out of the other side of his mouth, he's saying, you're part of the problem, Tony. You're part of the problem, Howdy. So do you guys see the problem here? I think some of you don't. All right. Well, I'll catch you on the next one, folks. You have a good night.